Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, September 5th. As a friendly reminder, the markets are closed on Monday for Labor Day. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of quick clarifications. First off, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. Stock number one here, ticker symbol NIO. Very, very nice day today. And now a very solid pattern here headed into next week. And let me be very clear, this pattern is nothing special on my part. I don't have any sort of great ability. And I say that because a lot of people are going to be watching it. And when lots of people are watching the same things and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. And the first part of this pattern that I got to think a lot of people are going to be watching is that pink line there, which on my chart denotes the very well-known, very famous 200 period moving average. So we're going to use that as the top part of this pattern. So, and I'll just use this as kind of a trend line right there to represent resistance. And then on the bottom part of this pattern, we have this area of support right there. And then when you factor in, well, what happened earlier on in the day? Well, the price had this big explosion up like that. And what I've now drawn is a bull pennant pattern. Again, you got to think a lot of people are watching it. So while nothing is guaranteed, is it plausible to think that if the price can come up here and then get a break up through that level, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible outcome. So if you like bull pennants, definitely keep an eye on NIO next week. Next, EDBL, and this is a very ugly looking chart, but for you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly, but I mean, there's no doubt about it. Opening 30 minutes, just a huge monster candle. And the next candle right there, decent. And then after that, basically it's just bled and bled and bled, but it's now approaching some very interesting areas, specifically this purple line down here, which on my chart is representing the 50 period moving average, another very well-known area in the world of charts. And while nothing is guaranteed, my point here is that if the price does come down here some more, so it comes down here to right around this $1.72 mark, is it possible that it could bounce? And in my opinion, yes, because you have this moving average here. Does that mean it's for sure going to happen? Of course not. That's why risk management matters. But it's one of those situations where you got to think that everybody's probably given up. This thing is so ugly. This thing is the worst thing ever. I hate this thing, worst thing ever. And then that's where things tend to bounce, when everybody waves the white flag. And does everybody wave the white flag down at this $1.72 mark? Maybe, maybe not. Again, to be fair, it may not, and the price just keeps dropping. That's why you got to manage risk. But that is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it is, and this thing gets a very nice bounce. So in other words, relative to what's being risked, you could be looking at some nice upside reward. Next, NVOS, very, very nice looking pattern. And going back to the whole idea of these self-fulfilling prophecies, you got to think that a lot of people have taken notice of this 0.223 area up here, which is where this key level of resistance is at. So you can see right there, rejected the price, basically rejected it, got slightly above it, fell back below it, and then, you know, these, as I speak right now, currently within the vicinity of it. So you got to think that everybody and their brother's uncle is watching this area. So again, guarantees, no, but is it plausible to think that if the price can come up here and get a break up through that area of resistance, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So if you like penny stocks and, you know, breakouts, definitely keep an eye on that 0.223 area. As far as areas of support are concerned, the level here that stands out, whoops, grab the wrong, is this area right there as a support trend line. So keep an eye on that if there is any sort of pullback in the downwards direction. But like I said, at least in my opinion, the most interesting dynamic here is all about that resistance trend line right, or the resistance area right there. So we'll see if the price can get the break or not. Next one here, AXLA, another penny stock and another general idea in terms of those self-fulfilling prophecies. Does this one stand out as much? I'm not sure about that, but right up here at 44 cents, you got to think that I think there's a good amount of people out here that have noticed that that was the high right there, and then that was the high again right there, had the false breakout right there. So again, same general idea. If the price can come up here to 44 cents and get the break, guaranteed? Of course not, but is it valid? Is it logical to think that if the price can get up through there, that could create additional buying pressure? That seems like a more than plausible scenario. In terms of levels of support and pullbacks, keep an eye on that purple line right there. You can see it's done a good job of, broadly speaking, holding that, the price. So keep an eye on that from a pullback angle. But again, most interesting dynamic, at least in my opinion, is all about that resistance area. So we'll see if the price can get the break of 44 cents or not next week. Next one, AMC, overall held in strong today. Started off very, very rough on the day. That opening candle, pretty rough red candle, but came down here, and this is why I was talking about that purple line on other charts. You can see right there, purple line, again, 50-period moving average. That's why it's a very famous area. Notice how it's bounced off of it before, and then today, that's right where the price found some support down around that level. So continue to watch that as a main area of support moving forward. In terms of levels of resistance, first level to watch in the nearer term, going to be that area right there at $13.20, and then after $13.20, the more overarching level is just from those highs on the gap up a couple of days ago, which sits up there at $13.90. So all things considered, good healthy day today. Like I said, started off very rough, but that purple line was a knight in shining armor, and then got the price, bounce upwards. Now it's well within striking distance of $13.20. So we'll see if the bulls can get that job next week. Real quick, wanted to pause and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online web class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box that you can click on, or if you're watching on my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live online class. Next, EOSE, and another one of these where pretty ugly looking chart. Is it as ugly as that other one? It is not, but still big, nasty move here. Price gapped up. Some poor souls bought right there, and then this thing dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. But the difference here is it at least has now started to go sideways with a bit of an upwards move to it. Now, I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because the price has started to go up here a little bit does not mean for sure guaranteed that this pullback is over and that for sure guaranteed this thing is going to continue on up. My point here is that it becomes a little bit more plausible to think that, yeah, maybe, just maybe, this downwards move is finally over. And the level in the very near term that you got to think probably quite a few people are watching is that area of resistance right there. So keep an eye on that, which puts the breakout point right up there around the $4 mark, give or take a little bit. And then as far as supports, and maybe you're someone that's like, no, I want to see this thing pull back more. Then again, as I've talked about already, we have that purple line there, 50-period moving average, which you can see has already acted as resistance a couple of times. So we could have the classic levels of resistance tend to act as support. So if there is some sort of pullback, then yeah, I'd keep a close eye on that purple line. But if you like to play more so breakouts, then I think that's definitely the area that most people will be watching. Next one here, TLRY. Talked about this in yesterday's video. But yeah, honestly, the trend lines let us down here. Very, very messy, very sloppy. Now, to be fair, it's not like anything crazy happened. It's still within this general area of the chart. So it's not like the trend lines let us down, but it was just, very sloppy. It didn't really care, it seems like, too much of these trend lines. So what I'm going to do here is just make an adjustment because as of now, the chart is telling us, you know what, these trend lines not really the best ones to be using, so make some adjustments. So our next key, or our newest area of resistance now going to be that trend line right up around $3.10. And then same with here. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this level down now that we have more data, and it seems as though that's going to be the more accurate area of support. So now essentially we have a sideways channel, which seems to be what the chart is suggesting should be happening here, as opposed to more so, as you saw, that wedge-ish. I don't know if that's a word. Pattern that had formed. So that's really the biggest update here. But taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture point of view, the chart is perfectly fine. Sure, I realize these moves are always way exciting when the price is exploding upwards, but sometimes just sideways action is just fine, especially when that sideways action is happening higher than previous sideways action. Case in point right here. So the last time it consolidated was right here. Now this consolidation is up here. Not to insult your intelligence, but this consolidation period is higher than that one, and that's a good step in the right direction from the bullish side of things. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and a very rough day on this one today. Very, very rough. But definitely some updates here need to be done. First, what I'm going to do is just get rid of these lines up here, as I serve their purpose for now, but they're not really relevant right now. And from a presentation standpoint, I don't want to risk causing confusion because there's clutter and lines everywhere. So let's try to keep this as clean as possible. So the first update that needs to take place is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And that's exactly what happened here. You can see price broke below it and then went into acting as resistance and resistance. Now, as I speak, nice little final 30 minutes of the day here. Good little green candle. So if this candle and movement does continue into next week, that'll be the first big question mark. Can the price get back above and fight through that 248.50 mark? Because that'll be the main near-term area of resistance. From over an overarching area of resistance, keep an eye right there on that purple line, 50-period moving average. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, nothing complicated here other than the fact of just where did the bleeding stop today. And the bleeding finally stopped right there at the 242 mark. So let me get that right there in terms of the near term. If there is a breakdown of that, then the next key level that you'd expect to show up and provide some support would be that pink line down there, which is the 200 period moving average. So overall, yeah, rough day today, but big picture wise, let me squeeze things down. You can see that overall the trend is still up, but keep an eye on this moving forward. And, if this pullback continues, then there could definitely be some potential bounce areas. But overall, from a big picture point of view, the chart is still very much so in an uptrend. Next one, AMD. Nice looking chart here. A good solid day. Unlike Tesla, this one went the exact opposite direction, but we'll get some levels mapped out here. So just to offer up a little bit of context, you can see that this thing had been getting beat down. I mean, that was a very nasty drop right there. But since then has basically started to form this upwards channel. So that's more the bigger picture context. And while we're here, let's just map out. So in the very near term, you have this area of resistance right here, which is where the price and party stopped today at 110. But if that level is broken, then the next key overarching level is from back here at 111.65, which is coming from that area. So as I zoom back in, just realize that that's where that secondary red line is coming from. And then in terms of levels of support, really the main dynamic here, and I didn't mean for it to be like this, but some days that's just how it goes. But once again, I'm going to be talking about that purple line there, 50 period moving average, classic example of it acting as support, both there and then multiple times right there. So if there are any sort of pullbacks, then that 50 period moving average is going to be that level of support that you want to see hold strong. But given that the price is much closer to potentially breaking through that area of resistance, I think that'll be the biggest question on most people's minds headed into next week. Can the price break up through that 110 mark? Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. Very popular ETF because it allows you to access at a much lower price point. And I promise I did not think that this was going to be the theme. I'm going to get rid of that line. But yeah, you probably know what I'm going to talk about. But once again, so if anything, we've now had a learning lesson on the importance of the 50 period moving average. But you can see right here, 50 period moving average. Surprise, surprise, look right where picture this, the price as a surfer, and this is the wave. Look at how that surfer has caught that wave and is doing a good job of surfing, riding that wave, and that's what you want to see. Assuming you're bullish, of course, that's what you want to continue to see next week. So support-wise, need to say more, no more. Need I say no more? I don't think that's the right phrasing, but can you tell it's Friday? Good thing it's a 3-day weekend. Need I say more? I think that's the right saying. Need I say more? The purple line there is holding as support. By the way, what am I trying to say? Do you know what the phrases I'm trying to say? Let me know in the comment section so I can learn the English language. As far as areas of resistance, I'm going to go ahead and extend this line out because it still seems to be very, very relevant. Had the fake break of it this morning with the gap up, but you can see after the price fell back below it, went right back to acting as resistance both there and there. So if the price can come up there and get a break up through there, that's one of those potential self-fulfilling prophecy points. But all in all, good day. Yeah, it would have been better had the price maintained those gains, but from the bigger picture point of view, you can see the overall chart is perfectly fine. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free live online web class. It'll be next week, Thursday, September 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, first off, thank you. The past few videos have gotten a lot of likes, a lot of comments. So let's keep that up. That's good momentum. That helps out. So if you do enjoy these top 10 videos, hit that like button and leave a comment. Say hi. Tell me what you traded today. Say happy Labor Day weekend. But any sort of comment really does help out the channel. And it communicates to me that you're enjoying. And as long as I know that you're enjoying, I'll continue to put in the time and effort to get these videos out to you. So again, hit that like button, leave a comment below, go get signed up for that class. And a reminder, the markets are closed on Monday. Take care. Have a great 3-day weekend.